Okay. And I think we are ready. Yep. Okay, everything's live. Everything's good, as far as I can tell. Oh, wait, whoa. Scroll that down a little. Okay, so... pick up my daily scrumptious reagents. Just keep stealing those out of the cosmic sauce. Alright, what do we do now? Well, I think I'm going to do another jar of psychoses at the start. I've only got 2 left now. I still have this ticket to Conspiracy Island. If weird, spooky government conspiracies seem like a nice place to visit, but you wouldn't want to live there, or even visit them for more than a day, this ticket is what you need. What's in this? Boop. Hey, wait, those are the silver coins I got from, that one thing with the wicked stepmother. Ha! I made this. What we have here is a pair of fancy pastry tubes filled with, well, filling. The filling appears to be made mostly of thick whipped cream with a lot of cinnamon, and hopefully nothing else. Hopefully nothing else. Oh, I bet you could have stuck other horrible things in there too, huh? Expensive champagne. Champagne is basically ginger ale that doesn't taste as good. I think it was the Great Muppet Caper where Fozzie Bear made that observation. If you put enough sugar in it, it tastes just like ginger ale. Well, it's epic level. That's good. Polo trophy. A potion. Plus 50 to monster levels for 15 adventures. Whoa. Polo, the sport of kings, and all the kings' hanger-ons and wannabes, and basically nobody else. Why? Well, you have to know a lot of corporate executives. You know how a lot of corporate executives and richy rich types love golf? Polo is essentially golf, except you also need an expensive thoroughbred horse and servants to take care of it. That, and it's probably dangerous as hell. You know, that too, right? It's not much of a... Oh, useful for bridge building. Quest item caught my eye. Then I was like, what? Not much of a painting, to be honest. Probably done by some nobleman's son who painted it as a hobby instead of as a job. However, the board it's painted on is a slab of extremely durable and waterproof teak, which you might be able to put to better use than the artist did. So, for the Orc Chasm? Interesting. Interesting alternate way to build that bridge, I guess. Huh. Solid gold rosary. Whoops. This rosary was apparently once owned by a knight who fought in the Crusades, became extremely rich from plunder, and essentially invented banking, and then paid for his brother to become the Pope. So it's basically a holy relic, at least if you're a rich person. It's a quest item, but it doesn't say what it does. Ornate dowsing rod. Aids in desert exploration. Ah, okay. It doesn't say what this does. I have 6 coins. Go on around for a while, flipping the weird foreign coin in the air and looking for a place to spend it. Eventually, you stumble across a shop on the wrong side of the tracks, inconspicuous nearly to the point of invisibility. Inside, to your surprise, glass cases filled with gold and diamond jewelry and all manner of extremely expensive knickknacks. So I guess the items that showed up relate to the things that I did when I played. So we got the cinnamon one. I think, yeah, there was champagne there. I don't remember taking an oil painting or a rosary or a dowsing rod, though. 10 planks. And the fasteners. Well. A man in an impeccably tailored suit looks down his nose at you from behind the counter and sniffs haughtily. Wow, This is some really high-class merchandise for a shop on the wrong side of the tracks. I assure you, we are most certainly not on the wrong side. We are, in fact, as far as it is possible to be on the right side. I see, and yet you're hidden in a dingy back alley with no foot traffic. We like it that way. It maintains exclusivity. Now, are you here to purchase something, or are you merely window shopping? Alright, let's go back to our jars. Jar. Here it is. I haven't actually done the sea. I should probably save this until I've actually done the sea. So let's do the suspicious looking guy. Chinatown. Where is the suspicious looking guy? Who is this? I'll go in that building. This glass and steel monument to money and the making of it was owned by the local Yakuza crime family. That would be Japanese, and yet this is Chinatown. Wait a minute. Something ain't quite adding up here. Most of the businesses here were the ones that don't involve selling mass-produced trinkets out of a plywood stall anyway. Unsurprisingly, the door has an electronic card lock, so only employees could take advantage of the free coffee. Alright. Tenement. This crumbling tenement building would have been condemned long ago if people weren't already cramming 3 families into an apartment. The door was locked, and I assumed it could only have been to keep the burglars inside so they wouldn't bother the shopkeepers next door. I shrugged. Didn't have any business there anyway. The annual New Year's Day parade was always a surprise to me, since for some reason it was on a different day each time. A different month some years. So clearly they have a different they're not using the Gregorian calendar. Or maybe you're the one not using the Gregorian calendar. Someone's using a different calendar from someone else. Colorful paper lanterns were strung from the signposts. Little kids were setting off firecrackers, obscuring the ever-present sound of gunfire. And a train of lanterns, dancers, and floats snaked their way through the streets. All the way out of Chinatown. Lucky bastards. I would have liked to get a close look, but the crowd was packed like sardines, and nobody was willing to give up their spot. Well, those grapes are probably sour anyway. The streets of Chinatown were bad enough. I'd need a good reason to go slogging around in the sewers. So I guess we're not a vampire then. To the shops. Everything must go! The streets' market stalls were more chaotic than usual. Even taking parade day into account, a lot of merchandise had grown or mutated or otherwise gone nuts. And all of it was on a rampage. I thought I'd seen everything, until I saw a plaster Buddha headbutt a roaring, fanged coffee urn. The hell is going on here? I asked. The little old lady who sold me the only newspaper I could read in the place. Wobu Zai Dao, she shouted, whacking a cheap brass dragon statuette with her cane. It retaliated by setting fire to the newspaper rack. This never happened before. Everything crazy! A swarm of flying fortune cookies came buzzing toward us. I grabbed one out of the air and crushed it in my hand as Grandma frantically waved a fly swatter at them. My fortune said, "Helping other leads to help your slef. Lucky number 11, 23, 37. 11, 23, 37. What the hell? I couldn't just leave the shopkeepers in the lurch. Some of them were the nearest thing I had to friends in this place, and myself could certainly use some helping. I rolled up my sleeves and wandered into the fray. That's not a grinning pork bun. That is a slime from Dragon Warrior. Possibly a reincarnated weeb who was stabbed in a, just out and about. These meat-filled pastries were a Chinatown delicacy, though they don't usually have a mouth to bite back. This wasn't something I wanted to deal with right now, but I wasn't about to roll over for a turnover, or be a pasties patsy. It's interesting that this is all written in first person in this area. It hopped all up on a pile of pork buns, but fortunately, they were the ordinary kind. Salsa versus pork bun. Salsa wins! And I gain a muscle point. Lucky cat statue. You saw these things all over Chinatown. Why are we suddenly in second person? We were in first person until this moment. Grinning white cats with golden coins in their collars, one paw raised to welcome money or customers or good fortune, or all three. Took me ages to figure out that the gesture I knew was farewell was meant to be beckoning here. Well, that's farewell is this. This is come here in, Asian. Whereas we were always like this. Anyway, this particular cat was much larger than usual, and judging by the pointed fangs and hellish orange glow in its eyes, what it was beckoning me for wasn't to be anything I'd consider lucky. The statue batted at my necktie, but I carefully kept it out of reach. The cat tried to play with me, but I wasn't playing by its rules. Ah, what's this? I totally don't want to participate in the whole capitalist system, man. But even I understand it costs money to make art. Like fatty glass beads necklaces and psychedelic fan paintings and satirical video games, man. So it's like totally good karma if you give us money, man. Roasted duck golem. That might be the scariest flesh golem ever conceived. A whole roasted duck, head still attached, hanging out in the open in the middle of a shop. Was one of those weird sights I'd gotten used to. We're back to first person. I'd always assumed they left the head on as assurance of quality. Yep, that's a duck, all right. Seeing a bunch of them moving around under their own power, assembled into a roughly humanoid shape, and thrashing the rest of the shop's merchandise, that was something I hadn't seen before, and I wasn't sure I'd be able to get used to that. Nonsense, you can get used to anything. The duck arms tried to bite me, but I avoided the irony of being bitten by food. Maybe you should just carry around an iron, and whenever somebody mentions irony, you just hit them with the iron. They'll probably think that that's ironic, too. The roasted duck tried to entice me with promises of delicious, crispy duck skin. But since it was trying to kill me, I remained unmoved. If something starts doing... Hey... So something's attacking. He's like, hey, you could always eat me. I'm delicious and crispy all over my skin. No. You belong in Fear Man stage. And I took a chunk of roasted duck with me anyway. Kaboom. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. Okay, good. I can one-shot them easily enough. Smash, smash, smash. Dead meat bun. This is a dead meat bun, in the sense of being a formerly alive meat bun that you killed. Not a bun that happens to be filled with, well, I guess there's no reason it can't be both. Stepping outside the shops for a breather, I saw one of the local Yakuza goons coming down the street. I knew he was Yakuza for 3 reasons. First, the garish tattoos covering his arms. Second, the yak head. Yakuza, I see. And third, he was doing a special extra nonchalant walk that people only do when they're up to no good. Assuming the Yakuza were behind what was happening to the shopkeepers, which is only logical because the Yakuza are behind everything to some degree, I followed him into a maze of alleyways colloquially known as the Curb Stomp Lane. It's not a good place to go. I wouldn't go there. Keeping as far behind him as I could without losing him. After a time, he stopped at a reinforced metal door and looked around. I ducked behind a dumpster just in time to avoid being spotted and watched him give an elaborate knock and whisper to whoever was behind the door. They let him in. Damn. So much for getting any sort of information. For all I knew, he was just going to a private mahjong game. I made my way back to the alley entrance, lit a crumpled cigarette, and almost dropped it in surprise when I saw some Yakuza goon climb out of a manhole with a brown paper package tucked under his arm. Maybe we are in Vampires the Masquerade. He kicked the manhole shut and glared at the people around him as if daring them to notice. Of course, nobody did. It was Chinatown. You don't go around noticing things like Yakuza couriers climbing out of manholes in broad daylight. Not if you wanted to be able to notice anything else ever again. Okay, I guess we're not vampires. Hey, how's it going, Rupadash? I followed him down the street into Shiawase Mitsuhama Zaibatsu building. He let himself in the front door with a key card. So I stood in the shadows of the adjacent alleyway and smoked my last cigarette while I waited for him to come back out. When he eventually did, it was out without the package, unsurprisingly. Hey, buddy, I hissed at him as he passed the alley. Come here. Huh? You forgot something back there. The boss wanted me to give it to you. Huh? What was that? This! I slammed my fist into his gut as hard as I could. It was like punching a flank steak wrapped around a cinder block. Yakuza, literally yak-head guys, were a force to be reckoned with in Chinatown underworld. Although the word underworld doesn't sound quite right when you're talking about guys with brightly colored tattoos and expensive suits and yak-heads, working out of a black glass skyscraper as though they were a respectable corporation. Come to think of it, I've known some respectable corporations that had even shadier goings-ons behind the scenes than these guys. Well, that's Chinatown for you. Anyway, I bring it up because, as you recall, I was about to mug a Yakuza courier for this building access card. Hey, I never claimed to be a paragon of law and order myself. He spun around and tried to kick me, but was too dizzy to land the blow. So most people look at your name and their brain just instantly assumes that you're a Rapidash, huh? The courier tried to punch me in the face, but it was the move I was expecting. These guys weren't long on creativity. The courier slammed me in the face with a fist like a freight train. He even made a choo-choo noise. Oh, hey, good. We got the thing. Yay! What is this? Tube of herbal ointment. Restores 14 to 16 hit points. Since they're constantly getting new tattoos, or getting their old ones retouched, Yakuza go through a surprising amount of skin ointment. I swiped open the front door of the Shiwase Mitsuhama with the card I'd gotten from the Yakuza carrier and strode in as though I owned the place. Right up to the elevators, which, it turned out, were locked with a different type of access card. Hell. The yak-headed receptionist at the front desk was giving me the hairy eyeball, no pun intended, as I approached, so I favored her with my most charming smile. "Can you give me a guest access card?" I asked. "I'm here to see Mr. Chang." The only Mr. Chang I knew personally sold fried rice out of a plastic bucket, but it was a pretty common name. "Uh-huh," she said, plainly not buying what I was selling. "Look, pal, it's obvious you don't belong here. How's about you make things easy on yourself and leave on your own 2 feet so I don't have to call security to drag you?" "Fine, fine," I muttered, slouching with my hands in my pockets. I don't have a yak's head, so I mean, how am I going to fool anyone? Oh well, into the sewers. Oh my gosh. Looks like we're going to read a novel today. Down the Rabbit Man hole. Rabbit Man. He's like Batman? No. When people talked about the Chinatown underworld, it wasn't usually meant in a literal sense. This time, though, it was plain that something shady was going on downstairs. I knew I wouldn't be able to get through the front door, but that courier had unwittingly shown me another possibility. I pulled up with a manhole, secure in the knowledge that any bystanders would either be too distracted by the parade to notice, or too well versed in standard Chinatown see nothing, hear nothing, say nothing protocol to raise a fuss. Muttering a curse, I lowered myself down the ancient metal ladder, slick with oil and rust, and pulled the lid shut after me. A short drop landed me in a concrete tunnel, thankfully separate from the main sewer drains. I don't know if manholes actually lead into sewers for real. I'm not sure. I know that storm drains lead into maybe it varies from city to city. Who knows? Rabbit Man. Let me see. The tunnel was dimly lit, bright enough to keep you from banging into walls, but not enough so you could avoid stepping in puddles. Someone was going to owe me a new pair of shoes after this, probably a new suit as well. Only one tunnel was lit, which made sense. It wouldn't do for the Yakuza couriers to be getting lost down here. After all, after a short time spent creeping through the dim light, I became aware of a certain smell that grew more distinct as my distance from the town sewers increased. It smelled like rotten eggs, sulfur, and burning tin. Triads. Where the Yakuza mostly worked out in the open, with their distinctive tattoos and yak heads and shows of wealth, the Triads preferred to stick to the shadows. And where the main tools of the Yakuza were intimidation and brute force, the Triads preferred magic and hacking, which, according to a low-level Triad guy I met at a bar once, were essentially the same thing from 2 different perspectives. After that, his speech got too technical and I got too drunk to understand any more of what he was talking about. But the upshot was that, like regular hackers, Triads refused to do any work that they could summon a demon to do for them. I'd since learned that magic smells like burning tin, and demons smell like rotten eggs, and the combination of the two meant you were near a Triad operation. The dim tunnel opened into a series of large, brightly lit concrete rooms, old abandoned maintenance sub-basements, I figured. The place was laid out like some kind of factory, but it wasn't knockoff designer handbags they were making. It looked like electronics, judging by the computer workstations and spools of cable, but there were glass tanks of some kind of bubbling yellow-green liquid, too. What the hell was going on down here? It looked like a pretty big operation, but the best way to knock down a house of cards is to start at the bottom. "Right," I said, striding up to a guy wearing a lab coat and glasses and taking his clipboard. "You've got quotas to fill, and the boss wants a production report. What's in all those boxes there?" I flipped through the papers on the clipboard, but they were all numbers and Chinese squiggles. I looked back up at the guy who was staring at me like I'd asked him for a bowl of fish soup without any heads in it. "Who the hell are you?" he yelled. Damn it, that bluff usually worked. Seems like you're failing 100 out of 100 on your bluffs. Chinatown Triad Code Wizard. Organized crime in Chinatown was a mishmash of traditions and modernization. Take the Triads, for instance. These guys used to be all dusty scrolls and tomes and incantations, but they took to computers like a duck takes to orange sauce. If then replaced as thou wilt, and the ampersand replaced the pentagram. But whether the incantations were in the spirit world or in cyberspace, the results were pretty much the same. Painful. He ordered a nearby demon assembly line worker to beat me up, but the demon objected that it was on break. He threw a punch at me, but obviously wasn't very experienced with his fists. He chanted some arcane-sounding gibberish, and the demon appeared in a burst of flames. "What is your wish, master?" "Beat the hell out of that guy." "Sure thing." "Oh, beat the hell out of that guy?" "Sure thing." Bonk. A clean room demon. Clean room demon. Triad wizards are always summoned demons to do their dirty work for them, but in this case, the adjective seems to have been reversed. These guys were kitted out with surgical masks, shower caps, and rubber gloves, and were busy cleaning slime off of circuit boards and odd-looking clots of electronics, carefully plugging in cables and packing things in silver static-free bags. Well, until they noticed me nosing around, at least. The demon picked up a circuit board to throw at me, but couldn't bring itself to damage the merchandise. The demon tried to remove its surgical mask to bite me, but accidentally pulled the knot tighter. Bop, bop, boppity, bop, bop, bop. Demon tried to punch me, but I jumped out of the way. His gloves were covered in slime, and I didn't want that stuff on my suit. All right, then. Bonk. Bonk, bonk. Hello, what is this? Guai is a word the Triads used to refer to a certain class of monsters they summoned for a certain class of jobs. Specifically, the jobs that didn't require the thing to look even remotely human. This one looked like a huge fat green and brown toad, with a muttering human face on its back, while a toad mouth belched and vomited slime-covered circuit boards into a plastic bin. The human one kept on pattering words that I only knew a third of, all of them obscene. I was considering making notes for later translation when the thing spotted me. So they produce circuit boards somehow, or swallow them and bring them here to regurgitate somehow. This is a very, very strange... Oh, hey, look! Chinese curse words. Stuns your opponent for a few rounds. You have no idea what these words mean, but you wrote them down after hearing the Gua mutter them at you, and if the things it said that you did understand are any indication, you must have the makings of the world's filthiest vocab exam. Kabloom. You're all nothing to me. Get out of here. Oh, hey, rubber gloves. More curse words. Oh, what's all this? The Triads were called that in reference to their organizational structure. 3-man cells, usually a boss and 2 lieutenants, with the lieutenants taking reports from lower-ranking bosses, and the boss reporting to a higher-ranking lieutenant. This gave them a very strict organization control and chain of command, while keeping things decentralized so that, should any individual cell be compromised, they couldn't rat out anyone but their immediate superiors and inferiors, and the network could route around the hole until it was repaired. I had heard of this Sierpinski brothers, Chang, Ang, and Tony. Before, of course, they were major players in the local crime scene. It was rumored that they were even at the top of the Triad Pyramid scheme, though I always figured they'd started that rumor themselves. Regardless, they were high up in the ladder. I didn't expect to get any information out of them with sweet talk, so instead I decided force. I was no noob after all. Chang and Ang grabbed my arms and held me while Tony belted me one. Fortunately, Triads didn't get much use out of their fists, and it was like being headbutted by a blue bottle. What, a blue I don't know, dolphin? The brothers started chanting a magical incantation, but Ang was a half-beat off and nothing happened. The others two glared at him, and he shrugged, embarrassed. Tony shouted to Chang and Ang to use Combat Maneuver 3B. I had no idea what that meant, and apparently neither did they. Does subbing even do anything anymore? Seriously, YouTube hasn't shown me any of the channels that I sub to in ages. And the channels that I watch all the time, I never even bothered to sub to. And YouTube always displays their latest videos. So for quite a while now, I think that subscribing literally does nothing anymore. It's the weirdest thing. They have this function everyone assumes is critically important, and it's like, does it do anything at all now? Right, I said, grabbing Tony by the collar and hauling him off the floor and giving him a shake for good measure. I want to know what's going on here, and you're the one that's gonna tell me, so spill it! Nunjai ni jai zu zong shi ba dai. He sneered at me and spat a mouthful of blood in my necktie. Go yang di. I didn't get most of that, except for something about my ancestors and dogs. Let's try this again. I grabbed his broken nose and gave a firm twist. Who are you working for? Well, torture is. Okay. Yakuza Shaiwase Mitsuhama. This is interesting. This is actually Chinese, so I have no idea how to pronounce it. But this is Japanese. So, you know, I can pronunciate it. I mean, I have something of a reputation for not being able to pronunciate anything properly, but better than most things. That's better, I said, wiping my hand on his shirt. And what the hell are you making? The entertainment wave of the future, he snarled, and I detected a sarcastic note in his voice. I'm not telling you any more. You wouldn't understand it anyway. Probably not, I said, tossing it back on the floor. But you've already given me all I need to know, so that's okay. I tied him and his brothers to with the same plastic cable ties and poked around his office. There was a crate of electronic gizmos. I took one out of its silver bag and tried to figure out what I was looking at. It was mostly a circuit board with some fat black chips on it, which looked normal. But it was wired to a plexiglass capsule that was filled with a yellow-green liquid, and something pink and fleshy-looking floating in it. And there were 3 cables that ended in metal probes, unusually sharp ones. What in all the miscellaneous hells? I rooted around the desk, but the paperwork was gibberish to me. And then I found another one of those weird electric gadgets, except this one was wired to a pair of goggles instead of 3 probes, and had an extra cord that ended in a regular-looking plug. You won't get away with this, Tony hissed from the floor as I put the device in my pocket. You're top of the list now. Every gangster in Chinatown be looking for you when I get out of here. Wang Bagdan. What's that? You mean, if you live through today, you're going to send every gangster after me, huh? Uh-huh. You must be very stupid to say that out loud while I'm still in the room. That's fine, Tony. I'm planning on being out of town well before that happens anyway. I fished his keys out of his pocket, locked the office door on my way out, and spent a couple of very satisfying minutes with a crowbar, trashing the computers, glass tanks, and anything else that looked smashable. That pretty much settled things. This morning, I had to get out of Chinatown. I had to get out of Chinatown. I prayed it wouldn't take me longer to tie up the loose ends than it took the Sierpinski brothers to untie their bonds. You got a crowbar? You can take out their elbows and knees. They wouldn't be getting out on their own then. As I hauled myself out of the manhole and back into blessed daylight, the first thing I noticed was the texture of the noise. It was still loud, but now the racket was all parade. The chaos in the market stalls seemed to have died down. I asked Grandma what happened, and she told me it stopped all of a sudden. All the merchandise went back to normal as quick as snapping your fingers. Because I smashed all the stuff downstairs in the sewers, whatever demonic thing they were doing. I asked her for a pack of coffin nails, and she gave it to me for free, as thanks for helping her out earlier. So at least one nice thing happened that day. As I smoked, I figured that the magic that the Sierpinski brothers were using in their manufacturing process must have leaked out somehow and infested the shops accidentally. I don't know any more about magic than I knew about computers, but it sounded like a reasonable guess. The Yakuza were going to be after me soon. Since I wasn't exactly inconspicuous, I figured my best bet was to double down and take the fight to them. That meant getting into the building. This weird electric gizmo was like the other ones I'd found in the Triad factory, except the metal probes had replaced with a much safer looking pair of goggles. There was an extra cord coming off, which ended in one of those pointy steel plugs they use for stereos. Back to the suspicious looking guy's shady past. No. Oh, hey, look, I can buy stuff from a demon person. Oh, let's see. Lucky cat statue. Bonsai tree. Sure, why not? Toy. Novelty tattoo sleeves. Nope. Furry pink pillow. Quest item. This is one of those pillows that isn't really useful as a pillow, because if you tried to sleep on it, the fur would get up your nose and you'd wake up sneezing. It's one of the sort of thing you'd give to a tiny dog to make it think you're the best master in the world. What annoys me is those little tiny pillows that are really hard and like, what is this, a rock? This is utterly useless. Those are the pillows that I don't like. A furry one, Yeah. Chinese and grinding up horns for aphrodisiacs for some reason. Limeade. Oh, hey, Sugar Rush. Lime-flavored sugar water that turns your tongue green and causes you to vibrate nervously until you finally come down and pass out. Cheap Chinese beer. Brass abacus. And fortune cookie, which is a crappy food. Smells lemony and NetHack-esque. It'll probably be just the thing to find if you find yourself stuck somewhere. Alright, I don't know exactly what these are for, but I have a feeling I should buy a few. I'll just buy a bunch. Ah, well, You'll have to collect 250 meat and find yourself a jar of psychosis from a suspicious-looking guy. Then you can get yourself cheap Chinese beer. I'm just going to go over here. No. Well, I guess I have no choice. I'm going to have to use the goggles. I'm going to eat a fortune. No, I'm going to smash a fortune cookie. You brutally smashed the fortune cookie. Looks like the captain forgot to give you any cleaning supplies. Maybe the pirates have some. Okay. If nothing's adding up, try adding some things up. You're in the middle of a basic by-the-numbers quest. The gates of knowledge await you. Are you elite enough? Ah ha 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 ha! That would have been the clue for that one quest I did way back in the mountains. Aha. Sometimes, this is a lot of these are clues about that, actually. Not sure what the cleaning supplies one is, though. I have no idea what this is referencing. Oh, well, let's move on. What do we got down here? Oh, I never equipped the pixel stuff and go to the pretentious artist with 8-bit finery, did I? I should have. We'll play with the strange goggles in a second. Hold on. Pixel sword. Pixel hat. Pixel pants. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's amazing. Suddenly we're Princess Zelda, are we? No. I want a tattoo for this. There we go. All right. Cool. I mean, as far as gear goes, this stuff's kind of garbage, but you know what? I'm going to run around with it anyway. What's it matter? In these low-level areas, it's fine. Okay, let's try the goggles now. Oh, really? You actually saw one of my commercials. There used to be, see, way back, oh man, YouTube has changed so many times. They used to have a program where when they didn't have any commercial, any ad to show, they would sometimes run channel trailers, and every channel was allowed to have one trailer for it. So most channels never did it. So I made this commercial for my channel, and I put it up in there, and then I gave a little bit of money to AdSense at one point in time. I don't know. Like, it continues to be actually one of my most viewed videos is my channel trailer, so presumably YouTube just puts it out as a video now that people can watch. So I'm imagining that you just find it like down the side with the recommended videos. I have no idea how it continues to get views, honestly, because it's not tied to anything anymore, to my knowledge. But who knows? So goggles don't do anything. What do I do? What do I do? No. I'll buy one of everything. What if I put 2 rhinoceros horns on? Oh, I see what to do. Hold on. I'm going to take meat paste and I'm going to start combining things. Okay, hold on. I got this. Where is that pillow that I just bought? Oh, all this junk. I really do need to do something about all this junk. Probably after this stream, I'll sit down and take care of it. Where is... Alright, I need to know the exact names of these items. Exactly what am I looking for? Okay. Furry pink pillow. Furry. F. Okay. So I'm going to take the furry pink pillow. Somewhere. There it is. Okay. Starting to wonder if it's there. Then I take the rhinoceros horn. Boom. And I say combine. Come on, come on. This is... I gotta be able to make a costume out of these components so that I look like a yak head. So, I equip the tattooed sleeves. Okay. Then... That's an accessory. I'll have to de-equip one of my accessories first. Yeah, no, I'm trying to take the furry pillow and the horns to try to make a yak head out of it that I can put on. I'm sure that's what it's expecting of me here. Probably. I mean, sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes the game wants me to do weird shit. There's nothing weird about disguising yourself as a giant yak, right? That's normal, isn't it? Okay, there we go. Let's see, rhinoceros horns. Don't know if I need that. Furry pink pillow and rhinoceros horns, right? What am I missing? What am I missing? Okay. You wanted me to just combine it in a different order. I see, I see. Fine, whatever. And then it was furry. F, 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 U. No? No? Meat pasting component. Sure you don't want to combine with a furry pink pillow and... Sure you don't want to do that for me, game? Come on. I combine these, I make a yak head somehow, some way. Somehow, some way. Brass Avicus couldn't possibly... No, it's not a meat pasting component. It says quest item. It says meat pasting component. It does. It's not usable. It's gotta be... It's gotta be... Can't use the novelty. me a second to look through my entire inventory here. Filthy knitted dread sack. Fire of unknown origin. For a pink pillow. Heavy D. Hill of beans. Firecracker. Lime. Loose teeth. Lowercase letter N. Oops. Ack. Diamond poppies. Mangled fingers. Maiden wigs. I'm not seeing anything. I combined the two horns. It has to be part of a costume. Oh. Alright, alright. What if... I'm about to surrender and ask Google. What if I added another rhinoceros horn? No, I didn't really think so. Alright, Google. Lay it on me. What is this? Jar of psychosis. Suspicious looking guys. The #1 thing for jar of psychosis. Okay. Gain access to suspicious looking guys' shady past. Okay. Alright. Let's see. Factory. Makeshift Yakuza mask. I knew it. But now what is it required to make? Recipe. Rhino horn, rhino horn. You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this. What is this shit? I need to buy a bottle of limeade. I need to combine my furry pillow with limeade. What? I took a moment to congratulate myself for finding a better use for that limeade than drinking it. Okay. Alright, game. Could have given me a hint. Could have been like, hey, you know, you gave me the fortune cookies. One of them could have easily said something about limeade, right? I just need to calm down and focus. Drives me crazy. There it is. Pair of. There we go. Well, this mask would probably only convince someone I was a Yakuza if I met them in a dark alley. Fortunately, there are a lot of dark alleys in Chinatown. Unfortunately, the lobby wasn't one of them. Moxie -10. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. I'll just pop this on. Yeah, I've got another one coming up tomorrow. Good news. All right, let me see. I swiped the door, stepped in. The stupid mask I was wearing was hot as hell, but hopefully I only needed to get past the receptionist. Many of the yak heads were a bit nearsighted, and judging from the glasses she wore on a chain around her neck, she was one of them. I prayed she was nearsighted enough that for my ridiculous disguise to pass. I stopped at the elevators and made a show of patting my pockets, then muttered the mildest curse I knew in Chinese and shuffled embarrassedly to the receptionist's desks. Ni hao, I said pleasantly. To my great embarrassment, I appear to have forgotten my elevator card. Can you give me a temporary? I took a step backwards and bowed deeply as she squinted at me. Fine, fine, she said, tossing a card on the desk. Here. Fei Cheng Gang's Eye, I said, grabbing the card and quickly turning away and heading for the elevators. As the elevator door closed behind me, I removed the mask and took a deep breath of blessedly air-conditioned air. Hopefully, so long as I acted like I was supposed to be here and knew what I was doing, nobody else would give me grief about not being Yakuza. The looks I got as I exited the elevator dashed that hope pretty quick. Well, I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to put my 8-bit finery back on, because I like dressing like this. It amuses me. And then, first floor. A burly Yakuza guard was practically busting his expensive silk suit at the seams, and he had his jacket sleeves pushed up to show his garish arm tattoos. It's a real shame to treat such a nice suit that way. Then, when the guy noticed me snooping around, of course, the condition of his suit became the least of my worries. Why didn't you just beat up the receptionist and take the keys? I mean, if you're just gonna beat everyone up through this place anyway, I mean, you know. Pulled back his arm to punch me. The seam on his suit audibly ripped. He stopped to inspect it, muttering a curse. I still have Belch the Rainbow active. Ha! Oh, hey, look! Level 2 card. Well? Do I have to find the elevator on floor 1? If I tried to explain to you how much I hate ninjas, we'd be here till Christmas, or whatever passes for Christmas in this crazy place. The only thing worse than a ninja is one whose day job is in an office building, and who spends the day thinking up new ways to kill people with a binder clip. A box of push pins landed near my feet and broke open, spraying the pins around on the floor. I carefully stepped over them. It's an office ninja attacking with office supplies. He threw 2 sharpened pencils at my eyes, but I ducked behind a water cooler. The punctured water leaked onto my hat. Damn it. See, pencils are for staking vampires. You've got it all wrong, Mr. Ninja. Suddenly, the salary ninja disappeared in a puff of smoke. I coughed and waved the smoke away and discovered he was still standing in the same place. He shrugged. A pencil kunai. The original ninja weapons were developed out of farm and masonry implements, or whatever other tools were readily available and inconspicuous, so it's not unlikely that a ninja who works in office would put a special effort into getting his pencils extra sharp and would probably put one in your eye, from the other side of the cafeteria. He tried to punch me in the giblets and kick me in the thigh at the same time. Fortunately, his grasp of anatomy wasn't as good as his kung fu. He did an elaborate kung fu posture, which ended with him holding up one hand in a beckoning gesture. I rolled my eyes. So he's trying to use Matrix Fu on me, huh? Just as he was about to slam my head into a photocopier, he noticed it was out of paper. He grumbled and asked me to wait a minute while he went to the supply cupboard. Slice. Oh, they have a security robot here. If you're serious about security, you can't rely on these things. You can't rely on just thugs. Thugs lose interest fast. And then, instead of security guards, you've got a bunch of guys sitting around smoking cigarettes and looking at dirty magazines. Sure, keep a few around just to remind people who's holding the cards, but your real security force is going to be bulletproof robots with tank treads and claw arms, tall enough to look a man in the eye and stream the video his final facial expression, like this one's doing to me. The robot tried to shoot me, but apparently whichever Yakuza goon was in charge of keeping its ammo supply filled had been slacking off. It tried to grab my wrist with one of its claw hands, but it was a pretty large claw, so I just slipped my hand back out. I threw a wastebasket over the robot's head. Visual sensors uploaded, it spoke. I suppose you think this is funny? The robot rolled after me at a not particularly fast tank treads. I took an opportunity to have a quick cigarette while it caught up. I thought you used your last cigarette before going into the sewers. Great big capacitor. Good God, be careful with that. Came out of security robot. It's probably powered his tasers or something. If you touched both ends of it, your heart would probably explode right out of your chest. Damages and stuns. Boop, 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 boop. You know what? I'm just gonna cut my way through you now. I'll just make storms of sauces through this place. French dressing, duck sauce, mint sauce, steak sauce. Just keep blasting this place. Where's the elevator? I got the card. I just want to go up. Am I doing something wrong? I might be doing something wrong. Maybe the game wants me to do something else. I've definitely seen all the monsters here. Alright. Once I hit 40 adventures remaining, I'll go check around. This is annoying. I have this thing. I got it right off. Oh, I have to say use. I couldn't read any writing on this card except the number 2. I had to go into my inventory and use it. Different access card for each floor seemed like unusually tight security. Was there a blood test if you wanted to get a new pen from the supply cupboard? Well, obviously their security's not good enough. Alright. Oh, hey, a butterfly knife. This is one of those knives with a 2-part handle that swivels around on the hinges to cover the blade when you're not using it. The main reason for that is that you can look badass when twirling it open. But it's recommended you get plenty of practice first. Nobody is intimidated by someone who accidentally slices his own fingers off. Somebody here has a floor 3 thingy. Somebody... Where is it? I just keep getting kunais and capacitors and other battle items I have no reason to ever use. Come on. There it goes. Okay. Not repeating my mistake from earlier. I swiped the next elevator card. It occurred to me that one could say I was literally fighting my way up the corporate ladder. Except it was an elevator instead of a ladder. Literally fighting up my way up the figurative corporate ladder. I could just go outside and climb up the outside of the building with suction cups and save yourself a whole bunch of trouble. Well. Somebody here has a 4th floor one, or maybe a roof one. Somebody here, come on. Weighted paperclip chain. Oh, hey, it's a 2-handed flail. A regular office worker, when bored, might link all his paperclips into one really long chain. A ninja office worker does the same, except he ties staplers to the either end and uses it to bludgeon his manager to death and takes over his position in the company. Seems like a reasonable path to promotions. The old single combat. Challenge your leader. Only with staplers and ninjas. Come on, give it to me. Give it to me. Come on, game. Spit it out. Spit it out. Any second now. You know, you can actually throw a keyboard in a dishwasher and it won't get hurt. Oh, here we go. This elevator card will take you straight to the office of the Yakuza CEO. I would not, I figured, be especially welcome, but I'd be ready for a fight before using it. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Okie doke. Well, I slid the keyboard through this. Yeah, you can just stick a keyboard into a dishwasher. That's my father had a computer repair company at one point in time, and that's what he'd do with them. So, you know, it worked. I don't know if you'd want it to go through the drying cycle and get really hot or not. I'm not sure, but it can just wash them. They'll, you know, doesn't hurt them to be wet, basically. When I slid the key card labeled CEO's office. Oh, by the way, whenever anyone just tells you something like that and you're not sure, always ask Google. There'll always be a Reddit thread with people ready to confirm or deny anything like that. Always, before you do something with electronics, double check with Google. Just always do it. Anyway, not that I think my information's flawed, it's just important to stress that. Always. Into the slot by the elevator. The door opened almost instantly, and a ding sounded more respectful than before somehow. The ride was longer this time, as the elevator whooshed past several floors en route to the top. I took the opportunity to straighten my tie and brush off my hat, which turned out to have a broken tooth lodged in the hatband. The elevator dinged again, and the door slid open, revealing a spacious and elegant office. Behind a huge mahogany desk, a wine-colored leather armchair faced the windows, overlooking the streets of Chinatown. My feet sank into plush carpeting as I stepped forward, and the chair swiveled around to reveal the CEO. It was, I was not particularly surprised to discover, a robot. The head of the Yakuza doesn't do his own paperwork, after all. The machine rose politely to greet me, its red electronic eyes glowing. Its torso had been meticulously painted in the style of a dark business suit, and colorful tattoos ran down its arms. So, you're the one who's been giving me so much trouble. Tony told me about you. Give him my love next time you see him, I said. I flipped open a cigar box on the desk and was disappointed to see that they were plastic and just for display. I lit a cigarette instead. The robot pushed an ashtray across the desk at me. I ignored it. I suppose you think you're a real tough Wang Badan, waltzing in here like you own the place. Would it surprise you to know that I allowed this to happen? I told my bodyguards to let you up here, so I could look at you with my own sensors. Seems like some of them didn't get the memo. The lower-ranking thugs need a workout once in a while, or they become lazy. The robot's red eyes glittered unpleasantly. What do you hope to achieve here? Do you seriously think a lone gaijin like yourself can frustrate my plans? I'm doing okay so far. What exactly are those plans of yours? I pulled the electronic gizmo from my pocket and held it up. What are these things? I suppose I might as well tell you. A villain can never resist a good monologue. You won't live long enough to make use of the information. They are neural interface relays. I'm in the process of beta testing the most addictive multiplayer video game ever produced. A video game? I asked, flicking ashes onto the plush carpet. That's your plan? You scoff! Plainly, you have no concept of how lucrative these games can be. Dedicated salarymen go absent from work to play them. Parents neglect and abandon their children. People play them until they fall over dead in an internet cafe. And that's just with the ordinary monitor-based games. This new one connects directly to your brain, providing the ultimate in video resolution, full sensory surround biofeedback. It immerses the player in a fantasy world as real-seeming as the actual lives. Even someone with as little imagination as yourself can feel the allure of escaping into your perfect mental fantasy world, I'm sure. And once you've got the fish on the line, you can soak them for everything they've got? Correct! Subscription fees, premium avatar and dwelling customization, interface replacements. Replacements? I took a deep drag with my cigarette and blew smoke out through clenched teeth. My disgust was starting to turn into anger. The magical components of the board wear out after a while. But the first one's free, of course. Of course! Free trial subscription, we call it. And what makes you think you'll actually get away with it? Get away with what exactly? That's the beauty of it. The whole thing is above board and legal. I will only be giving people what they want. At a fair price, too. At the projected subscriber levels, I won't even have to inflate the profit margins to make billions. And it's not a drug. There are no opiates or narcotics involved whatsoever. It's as safe as houses, you might say. The players can quit any time they want to. If they ever want to. I've heard enough. I ground out the butt of my cigarette on the polished mahogany surface of the desk. Maybe the police can't touch you, but I sure as hell can. Oh, you in what army? No army, I replied. I punched the elevator call button, and when the door slid open, I reached inside and pressed the hold button. I turned back to face the robot, pushed up my sleeves, and held up my fists. Just me and my two friends here. Well, anyway. Not an MMO. Oh, come on. This is child stuff. You haven't even you should see what EA does on an average day. Makes this stuff look weak. You're fighting a chief electric overseer. A man smart enough to be head of the Yakuza doesn't sit in an office all day. He spends his time thinking up new and elaborate plans of enjoying the ridiculous amount of money his organization makes and implementing those plans. The crime-related plans are generally thought up by lieutenants and then programmed into the robots that serve as the CEOs of Yakuza corporations. After all, a Yakuza CEO is an obvious target for police sting operations, and the police were generally less willing to beat up a robot for information than I was. The electronic overseer tried to punch me. I stepped back and his mahogany desk got in the way. Everyone's trying to punch me here. He looked at his watch and frowned. Can we hurry this up? I've got a shareholders meeting in half an hour. Now I'm going to keep poking you with the weak ones. My lowest level spells. Oh crap, you're done already? Oh wait, no! He pulls a cigar cutter out of his desk drawer and demonstrates how he punishes failure in his organization. I have missing fingers. It really hurts, and it's going to take a while for them to grow back. I massaged my bruised and bleeding knuckles as a shower of sparks sprayed from the robot's neck like a New Year's firework. This achieves you nothing, it crackled. Destroy me? They will unbox another one and upload my mind into the backup. The beta sessions are well underway. It is too late for you to stop me. I pushed the robot out of his chair and opened the desk drawer. It was empty except for an old rusty key on a shiny new brass keychain. It was labeled Test Site. We'll see about that. Well, how about if you just get his entire organization addicted to his new MMO? Aha! That's where the tenement gets into it. We still have the party thing over here, though. I suppose I'm going to need to drink my magnesium. Followed immediately by eating some FUD. Nom nom. And that's more than enough adventures. Excellent, excellent. Alright. Now, Let's bip on back. The key I'd found on the Yakuza CEO's desk unlocked the front door of the old tenement building. Just as I'd expected. Where better to beta test your dream world than in a building full of people whose real lives don't amount to a bowl of rice amongst them. In full view of your office buildings, inside it was quiet. Far, far too quiet. The place should have been full of rioting children, old ladies shouting gossip at each other, wives and husbands arguing, especially on New Year's. It should have been pure chaos. Instead, it was like a tomb. Then, somewhere down the hall, I heard someone yell, "Ding!" "Grats!" came the reply, shouted from several voices and directions. What the hell was I walking into? Desperate gold farmer. This guy looked more or less normal, if dirty and undurfed, until I noticed the electronic gadget that seemed to be wired into his skull. His facial expression I associated with guys who spent too much time in unlicensed betting parlors. When he saw me, he rushed up shouting a whole bunch of Chinese. Please do not steal my rose?" I didn't get it, but at least he was quite polite about it, until he started punching me in the head. He pulled out an abacus and made some calculations, eyeing my shoes and hat. He knocked my hat off and grabbed it up before I could pick it up. Oh, and I grabbed it before he could pick it up. He pouted, clearly annoyed. Alright, slice, slash. Oh, hey, gold piece. Whoa. Holy crap, the description on this thing is like... Well... It's like an entire... It's 4 dense paragraphs. I wasn't sure what I was looking at. It appeared to be a gold coin. Not actual gold, more likely brass or some shiny alloy, about 1.5 inches across. One side featured crossed swords and some Chinese lettering, presumably the kind of logo from the game. The other side said 100 geeps, and then small letters, Shiwase Mitsuhama Entertainment. What is this? A physical token you could buy from them? And then somehow convert into game time or currency? Okay, but why a physical middleman? Or was it the other way around? Use your in-game currency to buy physical tokens. But why would you want to do that? I rolled the coin across my knuckle a couple of times, pondering the question. If it worked both ways, you could launder money through the system, but then the mobs would end up moving these brass tokens around by the cargo container full. Ridiculous! Then it occurred to me that maybe I was just overthinking it. The game ran on magical systems designed by triads and manufactured by demons. Maybe the players were just manifesting their game currency into tokens all on their own. They might not even realize they were doing it. Sounds insane, but I'd seen firsthand what triad magic had done to the shopkeeper's inventory this morning. Just about anything seemed possible after that. Bored-looking Yakuza was leaning against the wall, regretting whatever foul-up had led to him being assigned to the task to make sure beta testers didn't get out of hand. Well, at least they let him keep all his fingers. Some of his friends could only count to 7. When he saw me, he did a slow double-take as he realized I probably wasn't supposed to be there. You grind 15... Oh, dear. This is a reference. Okay. So obviously rats are the staple opening monster of Western RPGs everywhere, but this is a famous song, Western song, sort of. You move 16 tons, and what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. Company store. I owe my soul to the company store. Do 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 do. It's about people who are, for all intents and purposes, enslaved. Digging and digging and digging coal. Yeah. 1800s, man. They were some really nasty, horrible schemes that were done back then. So yeah, that's what that's referencing. That's a very obscure reference to fling out there, especially when we're supposed to be in some kind of weird Chinatown place. I'd found the stairs to the basement, but they were blocked by a fat, sweaty man sitting on a milk crate in a stained undershirt. His eyes had the same electronically induced glaze as the others, but otherwise his facial expression screamed landlord or bookie or something of that ilk. "Hey," he shouted when he saw me. "What are you doing standing around? You got a quota to fill." "Quota?" "The gold! You want to eat tonight or what?" It was only the beta test version, but already the scum had seeped out of the woodwork to get their own little fiefdoms. Amazing how quickly that happened. I would have liked to just slugged him one, but he screamed bloody murder, and I didn't relish the thought of having to fight all of his lackeys at once. This guy looks like he hasn't eaten or slept in a long time, and had glazed-over stare that must have been due to the electronic gadgets wired into his skull. He was jumping around, randomly waving his arms and making occasional little explosion noises with his mouth. He shouted the name of his special attack and swung an imaginary sword at me, his eyes wide when nothing happened. Augmented reality might not be the best idea, guys. He might be drinking something, then swung at me. When I ducked the blow, he muttered something about cheap solutions, medicines, something about that. Yeah, that's the song. St. Peter, don't call me 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. That's the one. Alright, kerblam. Let's tweak our equipment a little. I might be able to do this faster. 30 is a lot of gold, after all. So, I don't need these anymore. I should be able, let me see, observational glasses, that'll give me a little boost. Was it you? No. No. 7% item drops, that's okay, we'll take that. I may have had something else somewhere. Huh. I'm still carrying around an oyster basket. I should probably discard that. Oh, here we go. Alright, and a pixel grappling hook. Perfect! Okay, 1 gold piece, so that we've gotten up to 2. But I didn't have enough rupees or gil or whatever the things were called. Yeah. 2 more. Excellent. Oh my gosh, come on. Wow, it's just back to back to back. Come on. 2 more. We're getting it. Another one. I've not seen anything ever trigger this often before. We're getting closer. Come on. I'm probably halfway there now. Come on, give me more 2 gold pieces. Stupid thugs. I'd have to check, but I feel like I've gotten over 20 now. Oh my gosh. 2 more. Excellent. 2 more. Oh, yes. Now we're making progress. All right, how close are we? We must be really close. 22. Not as close as I'd hoped. I've been overestimating my gains. All right, we've got 23. Oh, my gosh. Quit triggering. 24. 26. I've never seen an event trigger that often. 27. Come on, we're so close. Can't you give me a 10% discount, please? I've got a lot of moxie. I can negotiate this. 28. Got it. All right, we're done. With that disgusting grease ball out of the way, I carefully made my way down the rickety steps to the tenement basement. The door was closed, but surprisingly unlocked. Another example of why not to let the goons do all the guarding. The door was also warm, with a loud humming roar, and a loud humming roar was audible from the other side of it. I wasn't sure I was going to like what I found there. I was definitely sure I wouldn't. I took a deep breath. It's the server farm. Despite the stacks of roaring box fans, the room was as hot as the mouth of hell. The source of the heat was obviously the grotesque obelisk in the center of the room, an undulating stack of what initially appeared to be computer hardware, except some of it seemed to be made out of meat, and some of the blinking LED lights were unsettlingly like eyeballs. The cables that snaked across the room looked alternatively like power cords, squid tentacles, and umbilical cords. Stomping on the terror welling up in my stomach, I stormed towards the disgusting thing, determined to find the power switch. My stride was interrupted by a cable whipping me and coiling around my leg. Salsa ball. A tentacle attempted to interface with my part, but couldn't find a compatible socket. Tentacle wrapped around my throat, but I poked the computer in the LED with it, and the tentacle quickly retracted. 2 tentacles wrapped around my arms, but I was able to yank them out of their sockets. I mean the cable, not my arms. Alright, let's slice and dice. A panel fell off the side of the tower with a clang. Inside I could see the shine of chrome input ports. What could I stick in its input ports? What interesting things could I shove in there? A throwing spoon, a TARDIS key, a socket bomb. I don't think I have anything particularly interesting to put in it. One of the circuits flailed, trying to replace the metal panel I knocked off earlier to protect the exposed circuits and sockets. Didn't seem quite dexterous enough to manage the task, though. What have I got? Exploding hacky sack, fireballs. I don't know what I'm supposed to stick in there. You know what? I think I've got a better idea. How about I just blast you? 1,451 damage. It's not dead. I don't know what I need to stick into the server, but it can't be killed, can it? I don't know what I need to stick in you. What do I stick in you? Random numbers. It's not going to help. An adder. Bites my opponent and slithers off into the undergrowth. There's meat on it. I can poison it. Artist's spatula of despair. Artist's whisk of misery. Batley lightsaber. Blow dart. Throw a bowling ball at a brass gear. That's not going to help me any. Several cave rolls started towards me at once, but they all got tangled with each other. I might not have what I need to defeat this thing. I mean, I could pour... Oh, what about that shop? It had cheap beer, limeade, No, I don't think so. Chinese curse words. No, not helpful. Crazy hobo notebook. Crude voodoo doll dictionary. Disease. What could I stick in you? Great big capacitor. You toss a great big capacitor at your opponent, who catches it with both hands and is immediately unhappy to have done so. Judging by the way their hair is standing up, you'd say it did about 29. Hey, it was a good idea. The capacitor seemed promising. Should have worked, but it didn't. But it should have. Red button. Scroll of ancient, forbidden, unspeakable evil. Short calculator. Tribbles. I don't have anything. I got nothing. Well, the weak sauce is slowly getting to it. While I blast it with this and that and that and this. Oh. You're fighting ended because it took more than 30 rounds, which is sort of unreasonable. One of the tentacles flailed. Okay. What do I need to stick into the server? It's not going to be any of these things, but I'll buy one of each anyway, just in case. What else could I do? Alright, here's an idea. Let's try smashing the fortune cookies again. What? That's not what we're looking for either. I have no idea. I did crazy amounts of damage. There's no manhole. There's nothing here. I've been through this place a lot. Well, I don't know. Have you played Chrono Trigger? You're talking about... Wait, what era of RPG games do you like? That should be my first question. You want old Super Nintendo style 2D ones? You want them newfangled 3D action RPGs? You want really old school... Oh, do you want Western RPGs like your Baldur's Gates and your Vampires the Masquerade Bloodlines? What you looking for? Any? I think Chrono Trigger, definitely Chrono Trigger for the SNES. I really like the fan game Alter Isla Genesis, which you can get for free. I think it's pretty good. I think it's pretty impressive. That's an RPG Maker one. Let me see. I'm gonna toss out specifically. I really like Seiken Densetsu 3 and Legend of Mana, but the whole Mana series is good stuff. Baldur's Gate 2 are probably the best Western RPGs. I'd really love to recommend Vampires the Masquerade Bloodlines because it's amazing, but it's also was shipped as a inexcusably buggy train wreck. So you have to get patches before you can play that one. And Fallout, personally, I know most people, I think, prefer Fallout 2, but I think Fallout 1 was a masterpiece. I played the two games back-to-back a year or two ago, and Fallout 1 was just really, really good. Fallout 2 is good. Don't get me wrong. Fallout 2 is great, but yeah. Let me see. I can recommend like a ton of others, but I mean I just gave you like a whole bunch just there. Alright. I know what I'm supposed to do. So this is the thing. Once you give in to a game and start looking up stuff, like, it's done. That's just what you're going to do from now on. And these Jars of Psychosis did that to me. So, this is suspicious. Let's just type in jar of... There it is. Psychosis. Suspicious looking guy. Suspicious looking guy, shady past. Okay. Chinatown tenement. Okay, this must be the place. The basement. Ah, here's a server. Obviously, it's the strange goggles. Why didn't I see that in front of me? That is so obvious. How did I miss that? You couldn't possibly want me to gather 30 gold again. No. No. You couldn't dare ask that of me again. How did I miss that? How? How? Because it's not here. That's how I didn't see it. It's not here. The strange goggle isn't here. It's not showing up as a combat item. Okay, I must be missing something. I must be missing something. Alright. Kingdom of Loathing, Jar of Psychosis, suspicious looking guy. Hey, how's it going, Buster? Okay, tenement building. The basement. You enter. You fight the server. What? It says use the strange goggles, but they don't show up on the menu. It says that I should be able to use them, but they're not here. The strange goggles are... Oh, there they are. Never mind. They're right in front of me. Okay, all right, okay. I just did not see them. I was somehow completely blind. Oh, well, it's got 3 coins. That's a new record. How did I not see those? How did I not see those? Well, I'm using up... I'm finishing this area. That's the agenda tonight. And then I'm going to need to stop and... Basically, within an hour, I'm going to have to be ready to stream my Caster of Magic. That's what I get for starting so late, you know? Come on, just pour the gold on me. Let's just get this done with. Come on, pour it out. This supposed gold currency that's actually brass, supposedly. Shouldn't be surprised that it has roughly the same gold content as seawater. You know, there's a ton of gold in the sea, by which I mean like hundreds of tons of gold in the sea. There's just gold in seawater. It's very minute, the amounts. So, you know, nobody has a really good plan to claim it. Just sitting there. If anyone could find a process to pump, an absolutely absurd number of seawater through some kind of filter that would get the gold out, somehow, you'd be super mega crazy rich. Like, richest person in the world kind of rich if you could pull it off. But, yeah, there is no such technology that exists. The time just changed. Oh, I just had that happen the other day. By which I mean, I think yesterday. Okay, how many more do I need? Personally, I think 30 gold was excessive. They could have probably gotten by on 10. Is my wry smile gone? Looks like all my buffs are gonna run out soon. Maybe I should take a moment. I mean, you know, added stat points are good. So sure, why not? Take a moment. If I've got all this MP anyway. If this doesn't end soon, I'm going to find myself using the booze to get the last quests. Oh my gosh, these... More gold. Oh, there it hits. Hits the wall. Do I still have the Ode to Booze on? Uh-oh, I don't see that one. We'll have to make do without. No, we need... I've only got one roll in the hay. Oh well, we'll take that. A 3. Fine, I'll take that. And a shot of something. Tomato schnapps. Okay, there. 49 more. Ah, Super Mario RPG. That's a classic. That one was good. There's also always the Final Fantasies. They're pretty good too. Panel falls off with a clang. Strange goggles. A tentacle tried to grab the electric device as I pulled it out of my pocket, but I quietly knocked it away and settled the goggles on over my eyes. I don't know why you would do this. This does not seem like a good plan. Taking hold of the plug, I feigned to one side, then the other, then leapt at the access panel and slammed the plug into a randomly selected socket, praying to every god of the Chinese pantheon that I had picked the right one. My vision exploded into rainbow-colored static, and a sharp buzzing filled my ears. What would this be like if I'd had the neural probes, I briefly wondered. What does rainbow static taste like? Like Skittles! And electricity. The static faded away to white, then to blue sky. I was flying through the sky a mile above a beautiful Asian fantasy landscape. Fields of cherry trees were in bloom. Gleaming white cranes wheeled below me. Shimmering serpentine dragons frolicked in curlicued butts. On the horizon, a mountain came into view, and grew larger and larger as I zoomed into it. It was engraved with an elaborate set of swirls and unreadable Chinese characters, and below that, in small letters, Beta version 0.3b. Then I slammed into it, and everything went black. Embrace darkness. When my vision cleared, I was sitting in an elegantly appointed tea room. How did that help you in any way, shape, or form? It was a dumb plan. Blowing the server up was a great plan. I had hacky-sack explosives I could have thrown at it. A beautiful woman in a silk kimono on the other side of the small table, her fan fluttering. Thank goodness you've awakened. I was afraid you had been grievously injured in your fight against the horrible monster that was enslaving us. You must allow me to reward you for your bravery. Simply name your pleasure, and you shall have it. She held her fan in front of her mouth and batted her eyelashes coquettishly. Who show badao, sister? I growled, getting to my feet. You aren't going to sucker me with your cheap video game tricks. Drop the costume and let's finish this. Fool, she hissed, the flesh melting from her face to reveal a gleaming white skull with fangs like daggers. You think you can come here, into the very heart of my realm? The kimono split and huge bone wings sprouted from her back. She flung away the shredded remains of cloth and skin alike. I am the final boss, roared the bleached taloned skeleton. Sure, baby, but I'm the protagonist. It's a good line, but I don't know why you went into the video game to fight the fictional boss instead of blowing the server up. Blowing the server up still seems like the best plan. She rose in the air and started shooting bolts of lightning at me. Fortunately, her pattern was fairly obvious and easily avoidable. She spun towards me, her wings sliced through the tea room geometry, revealing a sunset-textured skybox outside. I wasn't sure if that was supposed to happen, but it was impressive either way. She slashed at me with her talons, but nothing happened apart from the word dodge appearing in green text over my head, which is odd since I hadn't moved at all. You apparently have high stats in the video game. That's weird. You win the fight. The demon screams something and bursts into flames. Didn't understand a word of that. Sorry, I replied, pulling out a cigarette. I lit from her burning wing, then stepped back out of her reach. This is impossible! You can't do this! I am God here. Lady, you said it yourself. You're the final boss. Bosses are made to be beaten. Otherwise, what's the point? Her thrashing death animation began to loop. Error! She screamed. Entry, give XP, not found in file, wbdemon.dat. Error, entry, spawn tmrwbd, not found in file mobs.cfg. She began to loop faster. I said, flicking the rest of my cigarette at her. I fell through her and bounced on the floor. Time for me to blow this joint. Well, the blowing's good. Initialize server reset. Error. Reset permissions unvalidated. File webdemon.dat is in use or unavailable. I reached up to my face and pulled off the goggles. The stack of computers were spraying sparks and black smoke, and the cable tentacles were thrashing like worms on a hot sidewalk. I dove for the door, expecting the thing to explode any second, but fortunately for both me and the people who lived in the building, it melted instead. Thinking quickly, I reached out and grabbed my hat from where it lay on the floor, saving it from a spreading pool of toxic black sludge just in the nick of time. I put it back on, set it at a rakish angle, and sauntered back upstairs, past a number of tenants who had opened their doors, dazed and blinking. As I opened the front door and sunlight streamed in, they began to cheer. They cheered that their favorite game just disintegrated? Okay. It still has broken teeth lodged in the hat band. Awesome. That does make it a cool fedora. Eternal Sonata. Yeah, I've heard of that one. I just got one the other day. I haven't looked at it yet. Radiata Stories. An old PS2 one. I've never tried. I don't know when I'm going to get to it. I have piles of games I haven't gotten to. I stepped into the crowd to check out the parade. The people moved to let me through, smiling and patting me on the shoulder as they recognized me. It was quite a sight, even to my cynical eyes. Colorful paper lanterns glowing in the gathered dimness as the sun began to set. Girls with ribbons in their hair and long silk robes twirled and spun and danced, free of any weight the world tried to put on their shoulders. People sang and cheered and laughed. Where's the Yakuza sniper on the rooftop to pick you off, huh? And then I saw the dragon. It was pearl white with eyes of flame, and it twisted and snaked and danced its way down the street towards me. As it passed, a huge lion head turned to face me, and for a moment I thought I saw it wink. I stepped into the street and began to follow. It picked up speed, and I matched its pace, whirling and dancing down the street. I may even have laughed. I chased that dragon all the way out of Chinatown. Dun 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 dun. Yep, that's the end. And so, I think we is done here. I think that'll be it for today. There's one more jar of psychosis, but I'll save that till after I've done the sea. There's still a few grimstones. There's still a ton of adventure. We're going to be busy all week with this one. Oh, at least the rest of this week. Oh, man. So, man. I am sore all over the place still. Oh well, that's life sometimes. Until next time and every time, this is Hadriex signing off. Bye.